I just want to, before we get into more specifics on states, there was a recent Business Week article that I thought was interesting where they focused on this summer's tentpole movies, and they noted that out of the 11 of the 12 action films, only one was actually shot in the state of California. Most were shot actually outside of the U.S., in the U.K. or in Canada, but the one that was shot here was Star Trek. And I think the big issue with California, and we have Amy Lemish here in the room, and I have to say that Amy's one of the hardest working film commissioners that I know, because it's really tough to manage a program where demand exceeds supply, and I can't think of any other state where demand exceeds supply, and I know she works really hard to get that program to keep going. But the biggest issue with California as it relates to large productions is any projects that have a budget over $75 million just won't qualify for the program, and that's something that she's hoping to change. And in addition, there's some limitations as to what types of television qualifies, and I thought I'd let Jay talk a bit more about the California program.
Yeah, we've actually had some very good experiences with the California program, and HBO is in a unique situation where our television films qualify the way the legislation is written right now, as well as our miniseries. Unfortunately, our series only qualify if we bring a series back from another state. But I think in the big picture, really the situation is that the incentives are now such a part of what we do that 10 years ago, less than 20% of what we did involved an incentive, and now over 85%. And I would certainly say the goal is in the next couple of years that everything we do has an incentive of one kind or another. And so we really hope, and I know that there are some discussions going on about how to expand the California program. And I think that, as we look at the amount of impact that incentives have had around the world and how much it's impacting everything we do, we really do hope that California continues to enhance the incentive. I think it only helps that way. That being said, we've had a very good experience here, and even with the lottery system, it happened to work out that we didn't win the lottery per se, but we got in line and we were patient, and it did work out. So, there's a lot of good things that are going on here in California. We just hope it continues to be enhanced.
So Jay, just talk a little bit about television, because I mentioned in terms of feature films what does or what doesn't qualify. On the television side, there's also pretty stringent rules as well.
You mean in terms of California?
Yes,
per se?
California.
Yeah. Well, right now, pay cable doesn't qualify, so that's really the challenge from that standpoint. And I think that when the legislation, maybe Amy can even speak to it a little bit. I mean, I think the goal here was to try and create something that was going to work. But what clearly is the situation, and you see that in every state around the country as well as every country around the world, that the incentive needs to be custom made for that region. You can't take an incentive that works in one state and necessarily bring it into another one. So I think the challenge here is to look at the industry and look at what's going on. We've seen the flux of features leaving California. I mean, there's a lot of television that's still staying here, but to the degree that you want to continue to have that here, how do you have a program that works to make sure that the people that are here, their jobs here, and that a large part of the production stay here in California?